People sometimes they think that when you talk about African history, you need to start from slavery and end in colonialism. What does the lion symbolize within the Tanzanian culture?
A person may be wearing something was decorated with a type of the skin of this an animal. It is the people with a high rank, we call it those chief, those leaders, mean nobody else is above the person. So he's the person who is occupying everything, and everybody will just be under that.
So, as big as this animal, how are people able to do that? Are these local people or people that are coming from other countries that are coming to kill this animal?
We at the Maasai, while we just doing this, it was showing that we representing that community where that it is happiness together while we are doing that, because while we are dancing, we're dancing with these things. It is showing this the Morani, we call Morani, those are warriors.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me in today's episode of the Obehi Podcast. Here we're very proud of sharing our story, being able to connect with people, connect with founders, connect with service-based businesses, and of course, connect with people who also want to connect to their root in Africa, because we believe that it is our duty to be able to connect to our heritage and being able to do things among ourselves, among people of African descent and those in Africa. So that is the beauty of this episode. I've done a lot of episodes talking to different people in the diaspora and to learn more about their cultural heritage. And this is one of those episodes today. I have connected with a friend in Tanzania who will be helping us to understand more about the cultural heritage right there in Tanzania. Of course, you will already understand that we have a project about tourism where we are encouraging members of the African diaspora to connect to their roots and to learn about their heritage. Of course, we are talking about this not only from the point of view of just a trip, just planning a trip to Africa. We are talking about returning home, returning to your origin, being able to connect to other people like you, to your heritage, to where your ancestors are coming from. But sometimes it is even difficult for you to do this if you don't know what kind of heritage we are talking about there. So this is why it is important for us that from time to time we liaise with people that are there on the ground so that they can help us to understand the importance of this connection, the importance of this cultural heritage, the importance of being able to connect to your roots. So this is one of the things that we are talking about today. So Patel, thank you so much for joining me in this episode. We have actually done more than we have done two or three now, different episodes talking about the Maasai culture in Africa, in Tanzania. You will, of course, would have heard of the Maasai culture, and wherever you are listening from, whether you are talking of it from the point of view of those in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. This is a peculiar culture in Africa. So Patel have told us about that, but today is going to be looking at some element within that culture. Of course, as you can see where he is, there are a lot of these elements there that he will be able to use to illustrate these experiences with us. So Patel, could you start by telling the people who you are? Then we'll pick it up from there. Please go.
Thank you for having me here. My name is Mzee Patel. I'm owner of Nimburi Safari Tours. Today we are here to look some elements, and what you seeing at the background, it is a crafted wood that the image that it's showing the reflect of both our wildlife and our culture and our heritage. Each place here represents not just the art, but a story. The story of our people, our land, and our connection to nature. So that is what we are going today to elaborate. And within this place, as you're seeing in the background, and I selected some crafted woods that I will just go mostly to explain for the people what they're just going to see. So whatever on how we continue to with the story, I will just be showing one by one. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Patel. Uh,
Thank you.
which are some of the most important element there, cultural element there, the carving that you usually share with tourists? What do they usually ask when they come around? They look at all the different beautiful carving there. Which are some of the most important ones that they see all the time, or that that you share with them all the time?
Mostly, there is two different type of clients. There are the people who are coming to look for the traditional culture of Africa, especially in Tanzania. And there are people who are just coming, they are just interested with wildlife. So while just getting those two categories, me too will just going to be flowing on those two categories so that I will just be feeding the person who is looking for a traditional culture and heritage, and the person who is just going to look for the wildlife and all of that stuff in nature. So this it will just going to be based on a type of the animals that the people mostly they are big desire or big anxiety to see them, and the people who are just going to see the cultural, there is some stuff they are not big, but they have the big meaning for the person who know exactly about the traditions.
All right, thank you. Just before you share some of them with us, because I remember also a couple of actually last month I was in Nigeria and I bought some of this artifact because I was in Lagos. Of course, this is something that is also well diffused in West Africa. Whether you are looking at Senegal, looking at Ghana, and looking at Nigeria. Handcrafting is something that is very heavy among us. Masquerade. Let me see the one. If I can see the one that I bought, so I can just share with you. Okay, give me a few seconds.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so like I was saying, I don't know if you can see this carving. So I really
yeah.
like it. Is beautiful. So I bought this in Lagos when I was there.
Okay,
Actually, there were many, and
yeah,
there's also another one. And this is another one. This is
yeah,
elephant, of course,
yeah,
and this is also very beautiful, which I also
yeah,
saw in Lagos. Then, of course, I
yeah,
bought other ones that were also very fine. There was the carving of a family, and there was a carving. Okay, there was one talking about love, talking about unity, talking about different
yeah,
family motif, which I really find very interesting because when I returned to Italy, I have some Italian friends here that, of course, they knew that I was going to Nigeria. So when I
yes,
returned, I share some of this work with them to, of course, let them understand our culture, what we usually keep in the house for remembrance, because there are story behind these things. In fact, it made me even remember a couple of years ago, that should be like 2014 or so. The Nigerian ambassador to Italy visited our city, and we took him around to some important places like the mayor's city, the mayor's office, like the Chamber of Commerce, and also the police headquarters here in Verona. So I remember he was having some of this artifact with him. He was having particularly the elephant. I remember this elephant, something like this, which he gave to the police chief in Verona at the time. And he also gave to some other places that we went to, like the Verona Chamber of Commerce and other places like that,
yeah,
which is to say that, okay, I remember then he was telling the police chief in Verona that the elephant is a symbol of strength. Of course, because he was the seat of police in Verona, because in the Nigerian police, elephant is one of the symbol of the airplane of the Nigerian police force. And that, of
yeah,
course, the ambassador was explaining to the police chief in Verona that is a
yeah.
symbol of strength to the Nigerian people. And of course, it can be
Totally.
used in other way to symbolize other things and all of that. But this is just to say that this is something that is well diffused among us, amongst West African people, among Nigeria. So I don't know how much is also diffused among the Tanzanian people. What do all this artwork even represent? Could you say something more about that?
Okay, because you started exactly on a side of the wildlife and you're showing the elephants, let me start that direction too on the wildlife, and then later on we end up on a side of a cultural and the tradition culture for heritage. So because you're showing the elephant, and I have here an elephant crafted here. You can see. Uh,
Yeah.
you can just be able to see.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
So yeah. What are they talking? As you mentioned, it is showing a strength. For the history of the elephant, I think so. You know that before give birth, will carry the pregnancy for 18 months. I don't know if you know that. So during the time of an elephant to carry the pregnancy for the 18 months, it is something, it was like, a year, it is 12 months. So you just adding another several months there. And the day that it's going to give birth, the land will remember that kind of trumpet because I don't know what type of noisy and it was that type of gathering. Any kind of an animal that will just be close there will not be around because it will just be a big movement, a big craziness. I don't know how can I explain. So that's why that is where they're showing exactly their strengths. That they just saying yes, it is real a king of the strengths. That's why just representing that. I started this way, showing that. But this is the one of the most of the animals that the most of the people they like it to come to see when they come to safari, especially in Tanzania. And this type of an animal they like mostly the place which has not crowded because they don't like noise, they don't like disturbances. And also for the feeding, a place where there is a good landscape, I have enough grazing, so you'll find the mostly. And to go for safari, the most of those big heads of elephant, you'll find them at Tarangire National Park. There are so many big heads. So we call Tarangire is the home of the elephant because you can just find a lot of them. So with that, on how you started, this is one of the big five. If we go their way, and on how you mentioned the strengths, I'll just continue to flow their way. And but because you started with the elephant, me I will go to what I planned to start with. The uh, yeah, this creature here.
The lion.
Yeah, he's the king. And as the king, nobody will just disturb this on a wilderness. He can just do anything. Mostly you can just enjoy them for the time of wildebeest migration Serengeti because it is where they just doing their harvest and it is where they can just get their prayer. So to talk about this, there is a story that they saying men and women who will live long time in the existing earth. They're talking about women mostly live because they don't carry the big anger within their body compared to men. You can just get wonder about the elephant on the living of it, wherever even all of the strengths, all of the abilities, all of the techniques that he have. But if I don't mistaken, I don't think so. We just go around 30, 30 or 45. I don't think so. It's just going to 50 years of living this creature because the anchor. Once the lion gets angry, just right there, you can just see the reaction. And then, according to science, and it's just going to affect some of the nervous system according to that eruption of fire within the body coming out. And that's how you can just see that reaction just going to react or something. That fire is being implemented internally and externally. That's why we just call it an animal which has a big fire. That's why the people are afraid. Even if you just make noise within the wilderness or the at the bush, you can hear it. And once you hear anything that around there, they will start to find a way to disappear. So yeah, and it is one of my animal signs.
All
So
right. So
that's
what?
why I wanted to start with.
All right. So what does the lion symbolize within the Tanzanian culture? Some of these sculptures, do you also keep them
Yeah.
in your houses, or do you design? Do you carve them to share with the tourists that come in? Can you tell me more, like, how do you use it? Because of course, the lion now, if we look around, is very present in many cultures. I think. If you look at the many emblems of different countries in the world, you will usually see the lion in many flags, in many emblems of different countries in the world, including those that don't even have lion in their traditional history, but you still have them in their culture because it symbolizes something powerful among the people. So I'm trying to understand what is symbolized in the Tanzanian culture, whether how much is used within the local tradition, within the local culture. Could you say something about that?
According to my culture, once you come to find a person maybe wearing something was decorated with a type of the skin of this an animal, it is the people with a high rank, we call it those chief, those leaders, mean nobody else is above the person. So he's the person who is occupying everything, and everybody will just be under that circumstance or that area or that level. So it was a master of everything. So that's why most of those leaders you can just find on different ceremonies, you'll find they just wearing something that had this simple mean, hey, I'm here, I'm a king of here, and nobody who is above me. I'm the only one. So he's the king of kings. That's why you just find representation of that. On a specifically to find the exactly term for now, I think so we can just refer that back on how it was. Nobody who is below this. Once you just see me, I'm the only one. So
Yeah.
while I'm saying something, you don't have to say that mostly on our culture.
All right. Okay, so let's see
Yeah.
also to some other because this is the second of the big five, right? So could you share also
Yeah.
with some
Yes.
other ones? Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to this. It is the rhino.
The rhino, yeah.
Yeah. Rhino. You know on how the world is fighting for poachers. Couple of we started since 2015 up to now. We increased the numbers of rhinos within the country because before there is a lot of poachers are hunting because of those horns. They just need this and they just exporting exporting from the country to outside countries, Europe or wherever. You don't want to mention. But now, yeah, we are successfully. We have a lot of rhinos. Once we go to Serengeti, Ngorongoro, yes, we can find a lot of them. And ah, this is the one of the thing. It is sometimes as a tour guide, once you go to the wilderness, if you are not well enough, once you just been in this industry, it is hard sometimes to find because they cannot stay to closeness environment where there is a movement of human being. And also you need the support of the rangers, those who are preserving the national park so that you can just find them because it was sometimes this an animal is shy and it is very aggressive. Uh, so it is hard to find them. But to come to the representation of this spiritually, as a spiritual person, to have an animal or the sign or something that it is the sign of this an animal to us is showing the kindness, humanity, because once you just don't get to the territory of this an animal, you cannot get harmed. But once you just go to the territory and you starting to disturb the environment of this, yeah, attack me and I will attack you. So this perspective, I'm talking in a position of spirituality. So what is representing me as a spiritual person? Uh, Make sure you cannot break or cross the boundaries. So that is a sign of me. Hey, don't touch me. I don't touch you. But once you get to me, I will get to you spiritually. So on this, it was the symbolized talking to, while we are talking on this podcasting session, we mixing things because like on a previous episode that we did, we touched in the mostly of the about the issue of spirituality, and on a term of spirituality, there is no spirituality without animal. Those things they are depending. Spirituality depending nature and animal. So in order to be a complete package, you have to have a knowledge of animals because, for example, you're just preparing a herb for the certain time of sickness. Sometimes you can just apply the animal organs in order to cure something. So that's why I spoke mostly on that perspective. But once you come to tourism, yeah, it is an animal that is quiet, very attractive. Uh, it's not, I cannot say loyal, so sometimes loyal, but it is crazy too. But then get territory of it, don't disturb. And you just go to the park and then start make noise, get out of the track. Yes, that track will just be ashes within the second because they're crazy and they know they have the style of calling each other. Once you start to, they have the style of backing side and they start to kick the behind legs, kicking like that, and then they come with the speed and then they hesitate. It is crazy to explain this, need a long time to explain, but spirituality on their side, yes. On a tourism side, it's a humble animal, I can say,
All
and it's
right.
very attractive.
Thank you so
Yes.
much for that. All right.
That's it.
Still with the rhino. You were saying that
Yeah.
some people were coming to push the animal. They were coming to kill the animal and take away the horns. So, as big as this animal, how are people able to do that? Are these local people or people that are coming from other countries that are coming to kill this animal? Of course, we hear also of the cases that have happened in different other African countries of maybe elephant, they kill the elephant because they need they need the dogs and all of that. And even sometimes they kill the lion. Of course, we have seen some tourists also, they come and they shoot down the lion. They will sit there taking a picture of it. I don't know, but it's very offensive, a thing like that. So I'm trying to understand out of curiosity, who are killing this animal and shipping them and selling them overseas. Could you maybe expand on that a bit for people to understand?
Yeah, poaching is starting from a buyer and who is a hunter. Because a person who is a hunter and a person who is a buyer, it is the two different people. Mean there is uh, somebody who needs those parts of this creature, and then they will just use the people who are within those national park or those conservation lands, and then they will start to hunt. Sometimes, in order to be able to hunt this type of animal, you have to use a gun, those rifle, or you have to use the traditional weapons that they are strong, has a strong poison, like using cobra, those strong, those what they call it, dangerous snakes to use the poison and they will put on their arrows. Like for example, let me show you on how they can just what like something like this. Something that's sharp like this, and it is steel, it is the metal, and then they apply that poison, and then for the time they're just going to hunt. They use the stuff like this with arrows, but after modern science come, now this it is something that will take some time because after you hit that animal with the arrow, it will take some time for that poison to flow within the nervous system of, in a body, and then start to react or start to act on how the purpose of the person wanted. So now they come up with the point of using guns. That are what they're using. For what? Uh, you know, elephant horns and those horns of the rhino, they have their use. For example, I have another tool that I will talk later. This is an animal horn cattle, like those bulls, they have horns. They will create cups like this, and then they will sell for very expensive price, but not within the country. It is outside the country. It will be even outside Africa. So those poachers needs of those stuff from those animals, they are not coming within the country. They are coming outside the Africa continent. I'm talking this way. I don't want to mention exactly who are they and what for, but in generally, a poacher who is hunting, it is a person exactly within the country who know the history of those animals, where those animals can be found, and how to attack them. And then that will be after handed, they will harvest it, and then they will transport to those people, and then they get the money. It is exchange. So
All right.
that it is.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for that. So usually a kind of a collaboration within the local people who understand the history and the knowledge about how to kill these animals and those outside who are looking for this animal, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, because we understand that most of these animals are in protected areas. So which means an individual cannot just walk in there and kill, whether you are talking about lion, because we have seen this a number of times. I want to repeat again, particularly in South Africa, or see also in
Yeah.
Tanzania, where you see this individual
Yeah.
who even they will just post with it because it's very annoying by the time we see this picture online, because what we are doing, we are asking people in the diaspora to come and see their culture, to come and see also the wildlife. Why not? Because the wildlife, like you said, is part of the spirituality of the people. It's part of the ecological system of the people, because you are not existing alone. The animal are done. Oh, everything is connected to everything. So it is very sad for us to see that some individual come around and start killing this animal, not because you want to eat them, just because you want to show how egoistic you are. Now you have a gun, so you can just shoot an elephant, then sit there with a picture and you are holding it. And it's really very annoying. It's a disrespect to our culture, to our collective existence as a people. So I just wanted to point that out. But are there strong laws against things like this? Are there strong controls against things like this? Because, like I said, it is something that as African is offensive to us. It's against our common culture. So, are there some law that kick against this in Tanzania as much as maybe in other African countries?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, the country standard well exactly to preserve those type of an animal, because elephants, rhinos, those are the type of the animal that will take a long time to give birth. So their life cycle or production, it will take some time. So the time you just doing those poaching hunting, it will take a big time to get another production of the other animal. And this is, it is an attraction. And sometimes the government are using as the part of revenue, because there are the people, there is like a tourist will come all over the world. They just want to see a certain type of an animal, like a lion or that buffalo or a rhino or elephant. So if you have less of them, it will take you a long time or a certain type of bush to go to find it. And then that will start to decrease the country within the availability of the certain type of the animal that there will be an attraction for the people around the world. So there is a very heavy laws right now. Yeah, yeah, and now I think so. We are in number three. We are in top 5 within those having those big 5 animal, enough big number of those animals within the country. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for that. That is important. So, yeah, that is people. That awareness also need to be brought to the people that this animal need to be protected, because otherwise they will just easily die away, because sometimes people are just anyway. So maybe there are other big 5 you want to show us among this animal, at least the sculptures. Please go ahead and do that.
Touching on something before I go to another, I saw your one of the posts within Facebook that you're talking about waking up with your dream and all of that stuff. talking about those animals, how I said, you have the poster like that, you showing the one mama talking about waking up your dream and all of that stuff. I didn't go all over the details, but the spirituality, because you touched it there, but you didn't go brief most of the way. Uh, why I said previously, animals on the spirituality, it was things that are depending each other. We depending on animal, and we depending on nature. I mean, trees and all of that stuff. I mean, there is organ that are coming from, like for example, why do people do poaching? Like for example, on the spirituality or healing, I will just need, for example, I need to make you afraid of me. Yeah, you once you just see face me, you cannot be able to look at my eyes. You just look at my and look down like that. Yeah, the people create the charm. I know something like no charm. You take an animal skin and blah blah mix with some stuff. Yes, there are the way there are people will wear it. I'm talking about African tradition. Those things like this. So yeah, people that wear it all make some cards within there. But and then they put the mixture of the burning part organ of the dead creature or dead animal, whatever it may be, the lion or others are big five that I show, and then you put in your body. Whatever way you can pass, whatever way you can just be talking with, nobody has an
Right.
ability
So,
to face in people.
okay. So, does that mean that within the local culture, say among the Maasai people, that you have to kill the lion or kill any of this animal for spiritual reason, for ceremonial reason, for rituals or things like that? Could you expand on that?
We went outside from that, but before it was like that. And that time it was not like now that we have shooting animals according to geographic environment of the whole continent. What are they doing now? Those animals, they have a lifespan, they die. And then when they die, we can have those organs. There's some part of those animals. And then we can get, on how we get, there is a specific institution that they're dealing like handing those animals for certain reason and according to the laws is talking about. And then we just get those animals organ from there. And then we will go to use according to what we need to do spiritually, but not for poach, not for handling, because handling we're just going against the law.
All right. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the question of spirituality, that is a lot that can actually be said about these animals that we are cohabiting in a space. Yeah, that is a lot that can be said about that. You talk about medicine. You talk about also protection. You talk about balancing the ecological system of the place. It has been studied, even from the point of view of psychology, how the interdependency between human being and the other animal is helping to maintain balance in nature. And this symbiotic relationship is something that have been there before anything that we know of in terms of studies and books. You see, you could even see sometimes that some people who live in nature or even live in cities, there are some animals you don't see around you because the animal are well advanced, are more advanced than the human being. Also, because of the technology that we have relaxed most of our intuition because we are also animals, no? But there is a more advanced form of records that exists in nature that you cannot tap into by technology because technology is a little bit too small to understand that because in the human DNA, in the human history now, or in the animal history, we're talking of millions of years of evolution. But that technology is something that was built a few years ago. It's still very erratic. You have a lot of errors in it. So it's not able to predict things enough as like animals we do. Okay, by that I mean there are some people, maybe when earthquake is about to happen, tsunami is about to happen, the animal will know first before the technology will even pick it up, which is the reason why sometimes you see certain birds or certain land animal or certain mountain animal, they run down from the mountain, they are going into the city, they are trying to escape. But as they are escaping, they are also signaling to the human being around them that something is about to happen. But you look around yourself,
Yeah.
there is nothing, you don't see anything yet because the signal has got it to them that something is happening because there is this life is about balance. There is the energy that is there, that everything, the way that is supposed to be. When something is about to happen, when there is a signal before you see the event. It's just like, for example, the relationship between lightning and thunder. Uh, the same thing that lead to lightning is the same thing that lead to thunder. But you don't hear the sound because the light travel faster than the sound. So you hear the light, you see the light everywhere. When the light come, after a few seconds, the sound will follow. But it's
Yeah.
not that what triggered the sound happened after the light flash. The light and the flash thing happen at the same time, but the lighting or the light is faster. So the light came
Yeah.
before the sound. So in this way, what is going to break the earth up like earthquake or tsunami is going to be the same thing, but one of them is going
Yeah.
to come
Yeah.
first. So the animal are able to sense it first. So they communicate it, they call all their friends, hey, there is danger. So they are running. So the human being, if we are smart enough now, we are able to read it. We're able to understand that the balance is being broken. We can escape, then we'll be alive. But if we don't listen, we say, oh, they are just animals, they don't know anything, we could perish. So I'm just saying that to me that
And
this is one of the ways to see that there is a symbiotic relationship between the animal and the human being. Even though we might have the technology, have everything, most of those technology cannot save us enough because they are not way advanced compared to the biology of life. I don't know if there's anything you can say about that.
and yeah, you touch something like that, and you have to understand those animals, they are vibrating high, not compared to we human people, because we have two ways of vibrating. You can just be vibrating human way and vibrating high. So an animal, they are using internal sense, your internal frequency, their pineal gland to read what is going to happen. That's why they can just be able to detect it. Here there is an enemy. I am not supposed to stay here. I have to stay far from this environment due to that energy that they are within internally. And that is why it's bringing the concept of spirituality. We are using the sum of the animals because there is an energy connected to them that can transform the other things that we need to do for the certain thing or the certain purpose. Like for example, there is people are afraid about old. There is people. How can you differentiate the existence of raven and crows? Uh, you know, there are different type of birds or those animals too when they exist in your environment. Or cats sometimes you just there is a different way of try to explain or to provide the meaning of those what are they saying. But internally, as a spiritual person, you have to understand when that happened, that animal already senses something and is bringing the certain message. But that's why we don't have to aggressive and dangerous animals because they're staying away from a human being because human being always we just being harmful to them because we are acting in two ways. There is other they saying those animals are the enemies and there are others who know those are the friends with them. So yes, that it is something else once you just maybe you have to prepare again about water and spirituality those animals to speak prospectively about uh, what every animal representing spiritually, what mean energetically, how will this be implemented. All of that it is a very big lesson, I think, so we cannot then be able to finish.
Thank you so much for that. All right. I'm sure you want to show us some other animals there in the big five.
Yeah, so we're going with this. We know this about it, like the buffalo. We have the big head and the one of the talking about wildlife and safari. This event mostly you can just see it mostly called they call it a wildebeest migration from Mara River to Tanzania, and we used to have around February, March to April. We're just going to get calving because we have the green season, green time, and landscape. So we have the big number of this. I think so. Maybe you have to prepare another episode so that we can talk respectfully those animals, so that I can just be able to flow because spiritual side, I can just give you what it is. Animal representing what's talking about. But I just wanted to show this the big five what we have, and the person that want to go safari, or you didn't have the plan to go, you'll come here, you see what we have, and the same way as you just go to the safari, you're just going to see in the reality this an animal. But here, once you come to the environment, like my background here, you can just get a good creature like this, and then you can just cure your desire of seeing those wild animal instead of just going to them and talking to the culture and all of that stuff. Here's where we can cover the most negative spirituality and all of that stuff. Talking deep. Yes, I like that. So that's the buffalo. We have a lot of them, big number, and every time, every year, harvesting is big, but they cannot never get less because they are like cows. They give birth. I think so twice a year.
Twice a year?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That is why the Nobel is so huge.
It is the same what group with the kettles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So within because it depends. If it would then a big like those old kettles, sometimes we just give twice or once. So the mostly they used to go once a year, but it depends on how. Even the more getting older, it is the more, because I'm coming on the side of pastoralist. An older cow can just give birth twice. How that happens? It is once the cow gives birth on a calf, and then after that we'll stay for the certain time. Once it gets start to be close to those bulls, we'll just be able to attract those bulls so that can just get crossing again and give birth around another year. But we consider that within the year because get a pregnancy within the past year. But the Muslim coming to the ratio, they consider it 1 year.
I see. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Okay, that is the fourth one. So that is the fifth one, right?
Yeah. The master of the speed.
Yeah.
Master of the cheetah.
So,
leopard. The other they call leopard cheetah, but then a big five we go with the leopard. It's the leopard. So to talk about it, it's a determination. It is everything they're doing on a calculated position. If you just get a time to view the video on how they're doing their hunting, it is a move that has a big intelligence, and everything they're doing in a perspective of a calculated moment. It was like there is no way to touch something that it is unplanned to do it. And they can determine what time to chase and what time to just go slow motion so that we can attract it and manipulate that movement. And what this, to go back to where mostly I belong, it is once come to spirituality, you have to have a good determination while you just want to strike and what time you don't have to strike. And in life, what time do you need to take action for something and what time you need to just pause to give a path of what month good for you to just do the big promotion for your business and what time you're supposed to just get lower and see how because we have different type of energies that they are coming on a different months and all of that stuff. So this teaches a lot. That's why I'm flipping here and there, and I'm not talking as a tour guide or than a tourist or explain mostly. I'm touching both parts for the person who's just going to see will understand exactly what it is, what is inside on this conversation.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Patel. How are you able to interact with this animal? Say maybe, for example, a group of researchers come to you, which of course they do from time to time. Say maybe, for example, we send in a group of students, say from the US or from the UK, they want to learn about this animal. So how are you able to stand between them and the animal? What do you need to do to be able to have that kind of knowledge, that kind of mastery, so that you don't get yourself injured, but you also are able to help the people understand this animal? How do you do that?
Number one, before you start the journey to do, because research and student who just want to go to law photographers, number one, you have to have a tutorial or a, learning or something to get a little bit briefing about what are you going to do. So, as for example, I'm a guide or I'm a person who just going to lead the group of those people to go to such one of those big five. Number one, to get a good briefing and where we can find and what is a good time and what is the habitat so that we can just be able to get easily. And then after that, what are the precautions we have to do to take before we get to the field? All of that we have to go to the environment which has the history. So we are not just giving the briefing. For example, we come here, you see this type of an animal, like where we here now, I'm showing on a captive wood. And then after that, we go to the museum. And then once you go to the museum, you get the history of every animal. And additional with the guide that you're being with will just be adding more according to the experience. And then from there, we start now to go to a physical location so that we can just be able to see how they handling, where they keeping their food, how their friendship with the other animals, and all of that stuff. So that's the mostly way I like to do, and that's why the researchers and the photographers are the one of the project that need time and also need patience. And it was the people with a big knowledge on what they're doing, because you cannot just jump to go to do, because sometimes you need to get close. Sometimes you have to be patient to find this type of creature while just going to do that hunting. For example, you go to Serengeti, you need to see then a leopard striking an antelope. And when they do what are they doing, they just kill and then they take that antelope to the top of the trees, climbing that. How they climb, you can just see it like climbing while, like for example, it's on a ground, just easily. The antelope is already on the top of the tree. So all of that need patience and all of that stuff. So we have mostly we used to have the patient, the team we call it, the researchers and the photographers. They have to have the attitude like an shooters.
Okay. So how close do you
Yeah.
need to be to this animal for you to be able to have a good shot in terms of being able to observe and see things where is there any real protection standing between you and this animal? Say maybe, for example, you are approaching, you are in Serengeti now. Then there are the lion.
Yeah.
Do you need to observe
Yeah.
it in a cage instead of maybe in across a barbed wire where they will never be able to touch you? Or do you have any, the distance between you and them is far, but there is nothing, there is no barrier between you and the animal? Can you explain that more?
Okay. Talking of that, it is good because there is one scenario happened this year about this. Some companies allowed their clients, their travelers, to get out of their vehicles while they are viewing the wildebeest crossing Mara River this year. That brought a big issue. And there is one of the photographers, before he was a guide, but turned himself to be the photographer. And then he reported that there is some companies allowed the travelers to get out. Within our laws, we are not allowed to get outside of the truck to come out so that we get a view. So in order to get a good view, you have to get in a car. It depends on how close this animal so that you can be able to take a picture or to look what are they do. You're not allowed because you have to understand those animals, they are not friendly with human, as what we talked previously today about the issue of the way they read us on how we are to them, on how we are acting to them. So for that, we are not allowed. Wherever you are a guide or the traveler that within a car, you're not allowed to get outside there. And additional with that, where we're going in Serengeti, there is no wall that caring or can make you some way to be not attacked with that animal. So the only way that it will be safe to you, it is in a truck. And that's why we have those truck that has a roof. So we open the roof of the truck, the other will just stand on the truck so that we just get a good view. And sometimes if those wild animals, they are not close, we open our car windows so that we can be able to see from them. And about the distance, it depends on a cleverness of the guide to get to a good environment according to what the client are searching for. So from there, you can just get close. For example, you are on a ground field, halfway of the ground and where that animal you're supposed to be, because the laws to advise to not disturb those animals within their habitat.
All right. So you've been doing this now for a number of years, taking people into parks like the Serengeti Park and, of course, another
Yeah.
park to see the wildlife. Is there any particular situation that you have seen that sort of that become important for you for any reason? Maybe you took these people out there was this particular experience that they had that sort of touched you or in a way, either based on their experience, based on their feedback, or based on what you see or based on what you learn that you can share with us?
Yeah, they have to experience, and it is the same scenario. The big five. The big five, it is the big thing that the people want to see, because the type of the animal that I shown to you, it was the type of animal that the people like them to see. So there is a one time, yes, the client I was I was working as an employee. So I was giving the client was six of them. I went with them to the field. They wanted to see the big five. So within I didn't go even far, and unfortunately I get all of them. I get money, I get good money, I get like 5,000 for everybody. They contributed all the money. They give me thanks because it was not a long ride, and we successfully get all of that. And then that makes me happy to everybody. It was like a big wow. So that changed my life in a certain way. But the other side, it is sometimes it is within this big five. While you're searching, like a leopard, they have the time. You cannot see them because they mostly, those are the cats. The mostly of the cats, they like to sleep and they have the time they hunt. You cannot find this animal hunting in a sunny time. It is very rare unless it is very hungry. You can just find it. For the mostly those, they on history wise they talk about they can sleep almost like 12 hours. They just sleeping. So all of the time I was with the client, we are searching for the big five. I was almost about to finish, and we failed to get the cat, I mean leopard. And then from there, we started to get the argument. They wanted the to some of the money to be refunded and all of that stuff because we didn't accomplish what they wanted to see and all of that stuff. Then later on, I try to give them explanation and how the history of those animals are, how their existence is, how what the time in there. So the time where it is landscape, because they are the prayers. For the time there is an existence of prayers, the predator. While there is the existence of predator prayers, you can have a hard time to find them because they are easy to get what they want. So they can spend a lot of time resting, regenerating their energy. For the time they need something to eat, it will not take their time It was just easily they got it, they take over there, and they have a way to receive their food. And then from there, a little bit they get to understand it. And then they came to office. I try to elaborate again. The boss added more and they understand it. So that is what happened in most of my life. So the mostly of the people, once you hear the person saying, I need to see the big five, a boss and a guide who is responsible for that, you have to give a person a duty who understand exactly what's going to do, because I cannot say within 85% or 95%, yes, you can be successful, but sometimes there are some challenges that will make some issues to not happen on how we plan. But mostly not, it cannot happen mostly. Very rare to find it.
All
So
right.
that will happen mostly in my, yes.
Thank you so much for that. Of course, there are human element also. So there are things that are situations that you cannot control. So that should be understood. That should be understood.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing those experiences. Of course,
Okay.
it's not.
We are moving now to the other side.
Sorry.
We are moving now to the other side.
Yeah, please
Because
go
I
on.
told you we're just going to go.
Go on,
Yeah.
go on. Anyway, I just wanted to let the people know that it's not that we are going to be able to cover everything today, because Patel, of course, is our partner in Tanzania. If you are interested, if you want to travel with us, you can simply let us know. Then we'll get you in contact with him and we'll organize a trip. Beside that, we are organizing a retreat that is going to take place in Tanzania next year, 2026. So everything is basically in place. We are preparing grant for you to be able to have a good trip in Tanzania. So yeah, in fact, we also plan to be able to so that Patha, you can also go into the wilderness and share with people, because now they see the sculpture, but they also want to see the animal live and all of that. So all these are part of why we are here. So yeah, go on and share with us the second part of the conversation.
Now we are just going to the other part of cultural, as you said, retreat tourism. So the mostly once you just go and coming to the Maasai retreat culture and all of that stuff, once come want to visit that, it is a traditional travel. So you're just going to learn a cultural or a series of just dealing with only tradition. As me, at the Maasai, what we just going to talk is something that the mostly has a deep story. We cannot be able to finish here, but we can just have a partial way to look at it. So the mostly wants to just come, how can we just differentiate this tribe of us to the other tribe? We have the way we operate, we have the way we lead, we have the way we just represent our dance, and in general, all of that stuff. So this is the one of the our cultural way. So as you just going to your retreat cultural tourism, you just find it. So this is the carving wood showing a Maasai woman has and those are the bead was just made. So once you just go to the village, you will find them they are dancing while those things on the neck, you will just be dancing like this. So that is the way we just represent it. And only when we just find them, it is women, they have this type of hair, I don't know how we represent it. It's only the women, they have it. So we, those artwork people, man, they created something similar. So instead of you there, before you didn't go to the field, you just get a time to see this. So this is how it look like. Yes. Yeah, sometimes you can just find, you see them, their bald head like that, the ear, it was the same thing. So that, but what now mostly we can just find that they decorate their ears with some beads that they're presenting, they have different meaning. So we can just go deeply. I think so with the other episode, we just go all to be physically to the field so that we can be able to explain to you all of that. So this is the woman Maasai showing on how we just going to the dance. You see them wearing things like this. This is something like on how the other culture they have drums shaking the body. So we don't shake the body. We will shake our shoulders, having something that is dancing within our shoulders. So that is how it is.
All
So
right.
we came to the other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go. I was trying to understand what is that
Yeah.
is any symbolic importance to that shaking of the shoulder, like you said. And I think the Maasai in Kenya, you see a lot of jumping all the time, and people like it a lot. But I don't know
Yeah,
if you also do that within the Maasai in
yeah,
Tanzania, because this
yeah.
peculiar thing that people exhibit, that people do. Because it's not part of your culture, it's what makes it more fascinating. Because now people can explain to you, this is why we do it. This is what it represents for us. See people jumping very high in the air, and it is significant to them. Therefore, it is significant to you because now it's not something that you used to, you know how to do or you can do. Therefore, it must have a meaning. So that show, that dancing, is there what is the spiritual significance? What is the cultural relevance to it as far as you are concerned as a Maasai?
We at the Maasai, while we just doing this, it was showing that it was we representing that community where that it is happiness together while we are doing that, because while we are dancing, you're dancing with these things. It is showing this as the Morani, we call Moran, those warriors. Uh, 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 it was like, for example, you being in a disco for the name that everybody know, you are men and women, and how you dancing, all of that coming together, how that energy will just come together, how that will grow. So it was the same thing to our culture too. We form our way to make a dance and represent our custom and our culture. So that's why we came up the way. We cannot shake the body, we just shake our shoulders. We have the beat that they are within our neck, and that can transform our energy, that can transform our happiness. And yes, that's how we do. So that's how we can just differentiate our different cultures to our culture. So this is the man. See the look of the man, it is different to the woman. You can see the man has an hairs on the top of it. Yeah, those are the it was like a design hairs taken for a long time. Yeah, to grow and then put together. I think so. You're familiar with this because on how you mentioned before the Maasai dancing, having something like that. So the most of the people they are familiar with this because during the dance of jumping, the women used to step aside because that it is like it is to go to others tradition. You can just find reggae. Not every woman will just find playing reggae, So it was a certain type of music or it's a rhythm or the flow of the dance that don't require the involvement of women during that time. But women, they will just be aside of the ceremony or the event, having a way to add the lyrics of the series song while things are going on. So that it is how it is as differentiating.
All right. This event usually take place around certain cultural event. During this dance usually take place during certain cultural event, or does it have times of the year? And is this something that can be exhibited whenever it is needed? Can you expand on that a bit?
Mostly on our culture, we have several times that it is very, very throughout a year or half a year. This is going severally. Like, for example, now we are the Maasai, we open the season of circumcision. We open the season on 20th of this year, and that will just go uh, throughout a certain time, and then that will take again another 7 years to come to be open. But to talk exactly about the dance and all of that stuff, while we have the traditional ceremony, this event will happen. Or marriage, we yes, this ceremony will happen. Or it is exchange of stages of ruling, like the elders, the Moran, those warriors, they are shifting to the stage of elders. This ceremony will take care during circumcision. This type of dance will take uh, time to. So previously there is something was and now the society they have that and they're still talking about that. But personal I can talk about it. Used to have the ceremony like that too. I remember so that I can tell you in person that I cannot mention on media like this. So it is some moment that the event like this will happen.
All right. Is it possible
Yeah.
that sometimes you can also look back in history to see for how long this tradition has been going on? Of course, I know that the African history is before any other history. It's the mother of all human history. There is no doubt about that. There is a part
Yeah.
that we are not able to go because, like I said, is African history is before any other history. Therefore, it's the mother of all history. So, do we know
Yeah.
for how long the Maasai tradition has been going on? This exhibition, this dance, this shaking. Because I also understand
Yeah.
that from time to time, some of these practices and customs are modified to suit certain time, to suit the changing time too. Because I remember just now, before I was mentioning the fact that we hear, we read that sometimes the lions are killed by the Maasai to demonstrate certain things, whether maybe during ritual, during circumcision. Then you told me that that is no longer done anymore, which is also to say that this culture is maturing or is transforming to suit certain time. If you were to look at even look at some of the holy book, you will see that most of the things that are written there, you cannot practice it today, because if you practice it today, you will look like you are out of this world because it looks so rude. It looks so rude. For example, look at the book look at the story in Genesis, where God told Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac. Abraham actually went and prepared a stick. He wanted to slaughter his son to appease God. You can't say that today. You can't say that in the United States. You can't say that in England. You certainly can't say that also in Africa. Say you want to do human sacrifice. Because if at that time in the biblical story, Abraham could actually prepare to sacrifice his own son to appease God, meaning that at that time, human sacrifice was still widely acceptable in the time. Because if not, it doesn't even come into the consciousness. Because today, when you talk about that, you will be talking about human rights. At that time, things like human right doesn't exist, which is to say that culture evolve, things evolve. So that is from the background I was asking that question. Like, since when has this culture been evolving? What are some of the things that have changed over the time?
Speaking of that, because there is a point you touched it about the Maasai men to attack the lion and kill the lion so that we show the strength. That's according to history, and then that happened. And the most of the people they know that in order to know the strength of the Maasai, you have to kill the lion. Okay, how that made the changes? It is just because of the man nature and this globalization. But we have the lot of ways that we can show our strengths. But what the world know, or what history know, it is just that history that was made that you have to kill the lion. There is the moment that we, the Maasai, pass. It is more than killing a lion. I'm telling you, during circumcision, up to now, I don't even feel to hear that. I don't even need to remember it because it is a very hard moment. It is a very crazy moment because you know that I have some stuff that I already prepared, a spear, I have arrows, I have a knife to attack the lion. And I already learned what are the tricks, what are the weaker part of that animal so that it can be attacked. But the crazy moment it is for the time, we are not using any type of things to inject in our body so that there is some type of knife will just be passing in our part. Oh, my brother, that it is more than do any interview to any man of my culture will tell you that it is the hardest moment, that is the one of the craziest moment, and you don't have to shed even any tears, you don't have even to look any direction, you just have to stand and that person will just doing that, passing that knife within your body during the circumcision. You just feeling every cut just going to your body, but you're not allowed to shake. You're not allowed to shed your ears. And during that time, there is women are the witness that they will see you passing to them after you already got that treatment, passing while you are singing the certain song that it is representing your culture, talking something, not killing a lion. But the history hided some stuff that we don't need to get outside there.
Yeah, this is it. That is the entry into the deeper part of it, which of course is also part of the conversation. And I believe some of this still will emerge in the retreat that we are talking about, and some of the trip, of course, that people need to make. And this is the culture itself. Because now there is a deep psychology that is taking place there, in the sense that somebody is being inflicted a pain, being inflicted upon a human being, and the human being is not feeling the pain because they already prepared his mind to accept what is going to happen. And somebody, of course, a lot of questions might even come from there. Why do we have to go this far to do this? Of course, for you to be able to understand why people go this far, you need to first of all understand the culture, understand the belief of the people, understand what is the responsibility that is being laid on the shoulder of this individual. What is the significance of it? From where is it coming from? So that until you understand the integrity of it, you don't have the right to judge. You don't have the right to say, they shouldn't do that, they shouldn't do this, because you don't understand the culture. The culture is a way of people. They have a way of keeping record of their existence. If they don't do that, it's going to crumble. So those two people need
And
to
that is
understand it.
coming
Yeah.
on this is coming this way for the other tradition and other cultures. They already preserved the traditional culture through writings, but through our traditions, how can we understand that you are ready to carry the heavy things, the heavy responsibilities? We can just measure your strength in this position, and how to it was for you to pass that wheel of fire, that everybody will just be quiet. Everything will just be quiet for that moment, listening, waiting for, because during the, and you're lucky because the time you're preparing this retreat cultural travel, you're coming to the session or the time where that moment, that situation is going on. So wherever we just going to get the time, they will just be able to witness that. And you will see the people will take a certain time of silence, women and men, listening only one sound of the person who is passing with his hand with a knife to your private part, doing cuts that I don't want to mention how many. All of that. What will just happen? It is to wake up. You're not seeing the blood dropping on your body. What you just have to come in your mouth, it is a smile and singing the traditional song, showing your strength, passing in front of the elders who are there, waiting for you to pass there, because that will just witness for them that you are ready. They can hand over anything that will just be in front of you, and you can just be able to handle it. That is their strength, not killing a life. But behind the scene, yes, they know. To know the strengths of the Maasai men, you have to kill the life. There is more than that.
Thank you so much for that. That is important. That is important. Maybe on another occasion, because here in the Obehi podcast, we are not just trying to do one episode to cover everything. There are a lot of nitty-gritty of this culture that need to be explained, that need to be understood. So, of course, we'll have time to come back again to go deeper in this conversation. These are important. Of course, we started with the big five today, talking about the sculpture, talking about when you are a tourist and you get to Tanzania, you are offered one of these artifacts, like I was showing before, like the Nigerian ambassador Eric Aburabi at the time offered to the police chief in Verona, and also in some other places around. Sometimes some people might not even understand what that means, because they will say, well, it's just wood, it's nothing. No, it's not just wood. That there are significant behind that. So if somebody can give you that piece of his culture, you need to appreciate it. But now we're also helping you to understand that these things, be prepared, give it to you, is something that need to be appreciated because there are history behind it, there are stories behind it, which is what Patel will be explaining to us till this time. Then, of course, we move from there to the to the culture, and it can go deeper and deeper and deeper in it again. And of course, I will also tell Patel that another occasion he will also take us to the forest where we will be able to see some of these animal or this road, what is actually happening there. All this is helping you to understand what is awaiting you in Tanzania, in Africa, because we have partners in different parts of Africa, from Nigeria to Senegal to Ghana to Kenya to Ethiopia to the Tanzania itself, because we want to be able to attract a lot of Africans in the diaspora to come home and see their heritage. Because I was saying before that African history is before any other history in the world, which is to say, African history is the mother of all history. So this is your heritage as an African in the diaspora, whether you are in the US, in the UK, in Canada. We are talking about your history. We are talking about your heritage, that your heritage is the mother of all heritage. And this is not something that you need to read in a book. It is something that you can feel. It's something that you can touch, because there are people, the people that have been practicing it for several thousands of years are still here. You know, people sometimes they think that when you talk about African history, you need to start from slavery and end in colonialism. I said, if you take world history, take African history, and look at the history of colonialism and tourism, even though we are talking about a period of, okay, for how long now? 400 years or so, it's still like a dot in African history, because we have been here for several thousands of years before there was even before the European could even organize a society. They didn't know how to do that. The European look at the Greek as the father of their civilization, but we tell them where the Greek were children, they were infant, they came to learn history in Africa. So to you as African in the diaspora, we are telling you that's a history, that you have the mother of all history. So come home, come and roost among your people, come and learn among your people. I was in Nigeria, a couple of actually I returned last month. I was anyway. Maybe this is another occasion. That will be another occasion to talk about this. No, when you are building a house, then at the point you need to do the house warming. So you have all the elders from your village coming around you to celebrate, to bless the house. I was blessed. I was blessed. I have all the elders from my place. They come around because I was doing house warming. In fact, these are people that I've not seen for a very long time, coming around under my roof and coming to bless me. This is something powerful. You can't just buy this in the market. You cannot read it in a book. You need to be part of it, because these are my people. When I stand on my 2 feet and I talk about my culture, I talk about myself, I know that there are people behind me. I'm not alone in this world. If anything were to happen to me, these are the people that will ask. I say, that belongs to us. Leave him alone. It is to say that there are people at my back. You see? So we need to understand that we are not alone in this world. We are not lone wolf in the forest. We have people at our back that are helping us to be alive, including, when I'm saying that there are people in our back, I'm not just talking about the man and woman standing at your back. I'm talking of our ancestors that have been here thousands of years before now. They are the people we are standing on their shoulder. So as people of African descent, we are actually saying, let's try to connect more among ourselves, because we are deeper than what you will ever be taught in school, what you ever read in a newspaper. Your history, your experiences, the legacy of your people is the mother of all legacies in the world. So let's roost on that. Let's get in touch with that. Let's visit by the time whenever it is possible for us, because there are still people experiencing that culture. We haven't even go to ancient Zimbabwe, or talk of ancient Benin, talk of the known culture in central Nigeria, and many other cultures in Africa. I am telling you that your history did not start in colonialism. It did not start in slavery. You have a deep, deep history that need to be explained, that you need to feel, you need to experience. And there are people waiting for you to embrace you and say, welcome home, brother. Welcome home, sister. This is your culture. So thank you so much, Patel. I really appreciate the time. Of course, we are coming back again for this discussion. So what is going to be your final take here as we conclude this conversation?
What I would like to tell people around the world who are seeking for good life traditions, we have home for all of that, brothers and sisters. Wherever you are, still know that there is the land still remember you and still has footprint of your ancestors. So you better visit even before you relocate, visit. And then see what is existing. Don't listen the lie. Come and realize yourself what is existing there before take action. Because outside there is a lot of resources. But once you exist yourself or once you come yourself, you will see. Here there is no babies with the big bellies. There is a lot of flies. Oh, it is rough road. There is a lot of sickness. No, the story is not like that. Sometimes even you can find the beautiful places. It is more than where you used to be in Africa. And it's still, oh, this natural tradition. Uh, Look this. I think so we can come up with the next time. We can look at it. Uh, Look at this. You cannot find those things on a place where there is fear, there is war, there is gunshot, and all shit. You can just find all of those things on a place where there is happiness, there is peace, and real people. You can just find stuff like this. Yes, this is our containers. You have negligence to carry your water and all of that stuff. But we do this as this is our container. We carry our stuff within this. Eh? We need a water drinks. We need a place to preserve our foods. This is what we're using. So you better visit, see what is existing. Because where those things are still existing, you have to understand in the harmony place, there is a wisdom and there is peace. You cannot find. Okay, here, this is the cup, as you can see, but this is not made by glass or not made by soil. This is the horn. It's a horn from animals, cow. You can just find this. And what we just use, you can use for whatever, anything. Okay, I have something else. Yes, guess what it is? This is a traditional opener. You just know the metal opener or any other type, but we have the wood. This is how we preserve our history. This is what our elders are doing. You cannot find. You can find in most of the places in Africa, but I'm representing this in Tanzania. You're welcome. I think so. The way you come, you cannot go leave this country on how you come. You're welcome, brothers and sisters.
Thank you so much for that. This is really important. You know what, Pathe? I am really proud that we are doing this. This is what we are supposed to do.
Yeah,
We are supposed to
yeah,
keep on celebrating our culture. So a couple of months ago, I did an episode where I brought in two people to talk about mask, and because mask is also another important part of our culture. Because right at your back there, I can see some mask. I can see something that you are holding on your hands that sometimes people don't understand what they really are. There are a lot of symbolism within our culture that sometimes you don't even know what they are. But that is the way it's supposed to be, because we see the competitor that are coming to destroy everything that we own. Of course, if we explain everything to them, they will take everything. They are not ready to stop. So it is good that some of those things are hidden in a place site, so that it is only for those who are mature enough to be able to understand it that we understand it. So there is a part of our culture that is not going to be easily, simply explained, it's simply there in the open for you to just capture. You need to take time to understand. Since the time of the ancient Egyptians, African history, African experiences have been evolving in the sense, I'm not saying evolving, but evolving in the sense that if you want to know about it, you need to get involved. The Greek have to spend years and years and years before they can understand certain rituals among Egyptians. Even though they take those rituals, they take those knowledge and then use it against the African people. But the point, what we are saying is that you don't get this thing just by hanging on the tree. No, you need time. You need time to be able to understand the symbolism behind what they mean. You need time to be able to mingle with the people, experience it, feel them, and smell the perfume. Help to understand what is really going on there. It takes time to do that. But anything of substance takes time. If you really want to know something, invest time to it. If you invest time, you will know because the knowledge is still there. Sometimes I've interviewed some people where in some occasion it appeared that all hope is lost. All hope is not lost. All hope in Africa is not lost because we are not even okay. That is an area I'm not going just now, which is the question of time. Because some people here in the West believe that time is linear. We start, then we move, then we disappear. No, for us, it's not like that. Our time is circular, which is to say that time is never ending. We are never ending. We are not afraid. We are not in haste. We are children of eternity. Eternity is here for us. So don't play to the idea that we are about to we are not disappearing. We are here for a very long time. All right, you share with me. Share with me. You're holding something there.
It is the people, they see this are the animal horns and all of that. If you are the spiritual person, go research or find the meaning of animal horn, what that does spiritually. We have here, sometimes we can give you as a decoration, but this decoration, once you put in your place, your home, your desk, it is attracting a Holy Spirit energy to your environment. So stick back to nature. This I will talk mostly in the perspective of spirituality. And additional to that, the most of them, they just wear the decor and all of that stuff. But we did another episode, I think so, to go over and all of that stuff. But brothers and sisters, this land still remember you. This still land is good for the good people. Make sure here we not implement guns. We talk, we sit down, we consult, we finish our conflict, and then we come together. No point of just fight, because this is still a peaceful land. But the sum of everywhere, there is bad people and good people. So don't root Africa as a bad part of the continent. It's still good. We still need, there is some stuff we can just be able to do to make it home. Come and feel it. We still have the history. We'll make you feel at home. Wherever you are a traveler like will animal, you're seeking for spirituality, you can meet the right people. Even if it is not me, somebody else. I think so. If it's connected well, we just direct you to a good destination. So it is up to what are you looking for? Come, we have it, but come with a good heart. Come and learn and implement it, but in a good way. Yes.
Thank you so much, Patel. This has really been a very interesting conversation. And of course, like we say here, let us know your thought about the conversation that you hear or share today. And we are faithful. We'll be here again to bring in another part of the conversation to share with you our culture, our heritage, our history, our human experiences. And as member of the African diaspora, I want you to remember that your brothers and sisters are waiting for you to welcome you home. Visit whenever it is possible for you. But just start even by connecting. Reach out to other people that look like you. Explain to them, share with them what is going on where you are. Whether you are in the US or you UK, in Canada, in Italy, or in Germany. Remember that you are not alone. like it happened to me when I went to see all the elders in my place coming around me because we had something to do in the house and all the blessings and all the sharing there. It shows me that I am not alone because if I were alone, I would be lost. As an individual, as a single person, you cannot go very far. But when you know the son and the daughter of who you are, of course, you understand that you can walk in a different light. Of course, you understand that you are a different kind of energy in the room. That is what we are talking about. Know that you are coming from a land that is older than any history. That is what we are saying. Claiming it is yours. It's yours to roost on, to take, to shoulder. It's your heritage. Claim it. So thank you so much for listening. And please share this video and share with those who you believe we have value in it. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. We'll be coming again with another episode. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you so much, Patel. It's been a wonderful time here.